Hello, this is Curtis Crowe, Crowe.Studios. You're watching Digital Darkroom. Today we're going to talk about photography under $1,000. Now, if I was doing photography under $1,000, which I pretty much had to do kind of ish when I got robbed, but this is going to be a little bit different situation because I still had some gear left, some very old crappy lenses. But you know, if you're starting off photography brand new, you might not have those old lenses. So we're going to start off with assuming you have absolutely nothing. So in order to start photography off at under $1,000, I'd recommend starting off with a LLC. And what that is a limited liability company, and basically what that means is your ABC Photography, let's just say that's the name of your photography studio, becomes its own entity. So if it ever screws up and there is someone that wants to sue somebody, there's going to be a much higher chance that they're going to go after your company and that you won't be held legally liable because you will be an employee of that company. Now, there is still some stipulations and stuff like that, things that can move over, because again, you see it all the time in the real world where an employee may get sued where the company will not even know that company is representing, or that employee is representing that company. So you still got to be careful, but it still gives you a layer of protection for $100, and it actually gives you a bunch of other really good things. Definitely go up to your city hall and find out exactly how LLCs will benefit you, and you know if it's right for you. Next thing I do is get a very cheap DSLR. Now, if I was going Nikon, I would go for a Nikon 3300. Just got an update. You know, if you get it now, you're going to still get several years out of it before the new one comes out because it was just updated. Cheap DSLR, get a 50mm 1.8. Same thing with Canon. If you're going to go for Canon, go for the SL1. I believe it's called the Canon SL1. And what that's going to do is it's actually Canon's smallest, physically smallest DSLR. And that's a very cheap DSLR. I think without the body, I think it's about $450, $550 around there. You get the 100mm or 50mm 1.8, which is about $100 to $150 lens. So you got cheap bodies with decent glass. And when I say decent, it's still a toy lens because it's $100. But the 50mm 1.8 gives you a significantly large amount of bokeh. If you look at my hand, it's coming in sharp. But even though it's only a little bit farther from my face is coming up blurred. And what that is it's from this very large aperture, the f1.8. And that will benefit you because you're using a cheaper camera, which doesn't quite have the low light capability as, let's say, a $4,000 camera body will. So it'll give you a couple more stops of light than what the kit lens would do, the 18 to 55. Now, next thing I would definitely get, now that you have a camera body, a lens that can let you shoot low light portraits, anything basically. It's a prime lens, by the way. Let me go back to that real quick. It's a prime lens, which means you won't get zoom. Zoom is, my opinion, if you're just starting photography, zoom is not something you need or want. If you're trying to learn about composition and framing, it's better that your photography becomes a full body experience by having to physically move to get the right angle, to get the right shot. It's something that you need as a beginning new photographer. So that is something to think about. Now, with the lens being picked out, the next thing I would get is a battery grip. You can get a off-brand generic battery pack for about $40 to $50, and that will give you an extra battery you can put in. Now, I only buy batteries direct from the vendor, so Canon or Nikon, but there are generic batteries that work just as good in most cases. So you can go for a generic one for much cheaper. If you're trying to be on a budget, I would actually recommend that. So now you have a battery grip. Your camera's now going to be larger, and there's going to be additional buttons on the battery grip that's going to allow easier access when you go to turn to portrait orientation for you to take a photo and it to come out really, really nice without actually having to stretch out your arms or anything else like that. So it's going to make your photography more comfortable. And the more comfortable you are when you're shooting, the better photography you're going to produce because it's not going to stifle your creativity. And the next thing that I would say is very important is throw away your camera strap. That camera strap needs to pretty much burn in hell. Pardon my language, but it does. The camera straps that come with our DSLRs are complete and utter bullcrap. And the first thing I do when I get a new camera strap is I burn it. I burn it. I get rid of it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. I had the first one I had, never roared around my neck after the first time I used it, hurt my neck really badly. Ever since then, camera strap. Now you can get a quality camera strap for about $60. $40 to $60. If you want, 40 is going to be more towards the generic, but these things can go to $100, $125, $150. If you want to spend more, you can. You get more features out of the more expensive ones. Some of them allow you to attach more than one DSLR. There's some really cool stuff out there, so definitely check that out. Now, next, I would get a flash. You can get a YN560 for either Nikon or Canon for about $60 to $75, $80, $90, depending on what model you want. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to have a more powerful flash than what's built into your camera. And it's going to give you more control because there's a lot of buttons on there for you to control it. So now what we've gone over is you have your camera body, you have your lens, you have your battery pack, you have your extra battery, you have your flash, you have your camera strap, you have everything you need. You have your LLC. You have everything you need to go out there and start finding photography work and actually getting the jobs and getting some really quality photography produced from it. The last thing, though, I do want to mention is especially if you're a student, is get Adobe Creative Cloud. And what that'll allow you to do is it'll give you access to a lot of the Adobe software, and that will allow you to edit your software. So that's what I recommend. It's a subscription-based thing, very cheap if you're a student, not so cheap if you're not, but they do have a photography edition. So I hope that helps. If you're looking for photography under $1,000, definitely message me. You can Skype me at Crowe, CROWE.studio, and I answer Skype questions on there. Or you can send me a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe to me. You're going to see more videos in the near future. Thanks.